devotees, all glories to assembled devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is Harita from Texas, welcoming all of you to the mid morning japa session. So today we will be moving to our next session. That will be on the topic Nectar of Devotion, Chapter 6. Before going there, I would request the devotees to please introduce themselves.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Oh,
Go ahead, beta.
you can go, Mataji. Say your name. Hare Krishna,
Hare,
Mataji. This is Balavrinda. All glories to Shiva Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Balavrinda. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to the call, Balavrinda, and happy to see you on the call whenever you have holidays. Hare Krishna and nice chanting.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, and all the assembled devotees. This is Yashamati Priya Devi Dasi from Chicago. And thank you very much, Balvrinda Beta, for beautiful recitation of Bhagavad Gita.
Hare Krishna Yashamati Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Welcome to the call and thank you for all your services, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Uma from Portland, Oregon. Balabrinda, you recited Bhagavad Gita chapter very nicely.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Uma Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji, and giving your association. Welcome to the call, Mataji, and thank you for all glories to your services, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam. So glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas, and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirtida Sundari dasi. Thank you, Balavrinda, for the beautiful recitation, and thank you, Harita Mataji, for your services.
Hare Krishna Kirtida Sundari Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj Mataji. Today we are very fortunate to have your association and thank you for enlightening us on today's topic, Mataji. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, I will once again welcome all of you to Bhakti Sangha Japa group session mid morning. So, today our topic will be Nectar of Devotions, chapter 6, and this class will be taken by Her Grace Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you very much for giving your association and enlightening us on this topic, Mataji. Before handing over the call to you, I would like to read Srila Prabhupada's quote, Mataji. So today is March 6th. Keep your health in good condition and work very hard for Krishna. That is our motto of life. Letter to Rai Rama, March 6, 1969. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Kirtida Mataji. Please take over the call. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Harita Mataji. Thank you so much for warmly welcoming everybody and reading Srila Prabhupada's quote, who is time and again reminding us that foremost comes our health, then comes sadhana, and then comes seva. And I'm really grateful to each and every one of you for joining us. Again, my throat is not supporting today, but hopefully, by Krishna's mercy, by the mercy of Srimati Radharani, will speak something on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and of course, by the mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for your very, very kind association. We'll start with Mangalacharan, and then we'll go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, before you start with the prayers, today's title is, I just wanted to say, Chapter 6, March 6 to 2026. Yeah, that's what I just wanted to say. Everything is 6. I was so happy to write like that on YouTube. Just wanted to say that, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Please start with the prayers.
Very nice. Yes. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakabalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sakana Raghunatham Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Vidamsha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालय कृष्ण कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरम् Hari Om Tat Sat. Okay, dear devotees, I hope my voice is audible. I'll speak in a very low tone today because I don't want to cough. Somehow not feeling well, but we'll continue with our Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Okay, so where are we? Last Friday, we have covered that how Bhakti is not dependent upon anything. Bhakti Yoga is totally independent, is self-sufficient, and no material impediment whatsoever could discourage one to surrender unto the Supreme Lord. So, Bhakti Yoga is totally independent. But we also, in the previous chapters, we saw that there is some eligibility that was needed to for Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Remember, we are in the Eastern Division. We did Samanya Bhakti. We did Sadhana Bhakti. And in Sadhana Bhakti, now we are in two types of Sadhana Bhakti, that is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. But we are in right now, Srila Rupa Goswami is drowning us in the wave of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti in Purva Vibhag of this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And in describing about the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, Rupa Goswami gave certain eligibility, certain prerequisites. Who is qualified for Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti? Who is the real adhikari of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti? Anybody remembers? What are the four things that Srila Rupa Goswami mentioned? We covered all this. Okay. If by hesitation you are not raising hand or by any reason, it's okay. Any one point, if anyone remembers, what is the qualification? What is the eligibility? Who is basically qualified for Vaidini Sadhana Bhakti? Yes, Sunil.
Those who
Shraddha.
have Shraddha,
Huh?
Shraddha, faith.
Shraddha, very good. One qualification is faith.
Neither they're too attached nor they're too detached.
Very good. Nati sakto na vairagya. Neither you have to be too attached, neither one has to be too detached. If one is into too much of vairagya, will not be successful on the path of bhakti yoga. If one is too much attached to the material things, then also one cannot achieve perfection on the path of Bhakti Yoga. So that has to be a balance. Very good. So you said all of three, you all have said, that is Shraddha, neither too attached, neither too detached. And one, let me say, is Ati Bhagyena. भाग्य के अलावा कुछ नहीं है, बिना भाग्य के भक्ति योगा नहीं मिलेगी. Okay. Yeah, kenapi ati bhagyena. By the impressions of the association we had with the Rasika devotees, with the you can say pure devotees in our past, it's their mercy, it's their association that has created certain sukritis, and because of which a fortunate person comes and enrolls on the path of Bhakti Yoga. And then, of course, faith is needed. And Vairagya, nati sakto na Vairagya, neither too attached, neither too detached. So this is for Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. That Srila Rupa Goswami has mentioned. And then we discussed about, in the last class, I think so, Preeti Vilasni Mataji has covered about the purity of devotional service. That devotional service is very, very pure. And it does not depend upon anything. If you think that birth, the high parentage that is needed for enrolling oneself on the path of Bhakti Yoga, birth doesn't have anything. High parentage doesn't. What parentage Vidur had? He was simply a servant of, he was a son of a maid servant. Narad Muni, in his previous life, son of a maid servant. Birth doesn't have any key role in for the path of self-realization. And if we say that, oh, little amount of purity is needed, we don't need any kind of purity. Talk about the hunters. Those Mrigari was a hunter. What purity he had? Narad Muni made him pure. Even if we say that, okay, those were the different yugas, but if we talk about Kali Yuga, what purity we all have, what purity the Westerners had. Prabhupada said, I created the good fortune for all of you. You all don't have any good fortune. I have created that good fortune. So if we say that, yes, certain kind of purity is a prerequisite, well, it is not. The hippies were turned into happies, but only by the association, by the mercy of a pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada. If we say that Varnashrama system or Varnashram dharma is important, well, no, that also is not important to take shelter of the process of Bhakti Yoga. Anyone, Kapila Muni, while instructing to Devahuti, he said, even a dog eater can take this process of Bhakti Yoga. So basically, the point is that the Bhakti Yoga is independent from everything. But then, in Rupa Goswami shared one verse. Let me share my screen so you all can see that beautiful verse. Yeah. You are able to see my screen, right? This chapter, I think, so Preeti Vilasni Mataji covered the purity of devotional service. To enroll oneself, qualities that we discussed, that is good fortune, neither too attached, neither too detached, and faith. That is for Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. But if someone has to just enroll in the process of Bhakti Yoga, Rupa Goswami quotes this very beautiful verse. Sorry. Shastrata shruyate bhakto nar matrasya adhikarita. What Rupa Goswami is saying, that as per the Shastras, Shastra Shruvate, Shastras it is heard that nar matrasya adhikarika means the adhikar that one required to enroll on the process of bhakti yoga is just to become nar, just to have a human birth. So practically, the only eligibility needed for practicing the path of bhakti yoga is to have a human birth. Shastra Shruvate Bhaktau Nar Matra. Nar, you have to become a human. Matra se adhikarita. That is the only adhikar that is needed for executing devotional service. No adhikar is needed. So that's a very important point that I want to bring it. Anyway, you all have covered very nicely this chapter. Preeti Vilasni Mataji has covered very nicely. We'll skip this entire chapter. And we'll come to today's chapter, how to discharge devotional service. And then Rupa Goswami describes about the different limbs of devotional service. Okay? What are the limbs of devotional service? It has 64 limbs. But in the interest of time, we'll see how much ever we will be able to cover, we will cover, because I'll be also very slow in my speech. And if we are not able to cover, no hurry, we'll continue next week. Okay? Srila Rupa Goswami starts with Hari Bhakti Vilase Se Bhaktir Angani Lakshaha. Rupa Goswami says that I have taken these 64 limbs of devotional service. But where I have taken from? I have taken from my elder brother's compilation. That is Hari Bhakti Vilas, which is compiled by Srila Sanatana Goswami. Hari Bhakti Vilase. From Hari Bhakti Vilas. That is a compilation by Srila Sanatana Goswami, the elder brother of Srila Rupa Goswami. Bhaktir Angani Lakshaha. In that Hari Bhakti Vilas, there are lakhs and lakhs of limbs of devotional service that has been described. Not one, not two. But he's saying the lakhs and lakhs of devotional service, the limbs have been described. Kintu tani prasiddhani nirdishyanti yathamati. As per my understanding, Rupa Goswami is saying, I have taken only few of the important ones, prasiddhani, the important ones, I have taken and I have compiled it in my Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Only the popular ones, prasiddhani, and that too yathamati. According to my intelligence, what are the four most important limbs of devotional service that I have taken and I have compiled it in my Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But otherwise, if we say that there are only 64 limbs of devotional service, well, it will be wrong understanding. 64 limbs, you can say the main ones, but otherwise, Angani Laksha, there are lakhs and lakhs of limbs of devotional service. Okay. Atra Anga Lakshanam. Now he's saying that there are many limbs, but also how they are very lakshanam means how they are lakhs and lakhs. Because one limb can have many sublimbs also. Now, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu take that sublimb also as the separate limb. So, Srila Rupa Goswami is saying that this is how it is being described, that there are lakhs and lakhs of limbs of devotional service, but I have not taken into all that into consideration. Like, for example, Shravanam, hearing devotional katha, devotional kirtan, devotional songs. It's one of the limb of devotional service. Shravanam, just bare, simple Shravanam. Now this Shravanam can have sublimbs also. Shravanam of Nam Shravanam, Kirtan Shravanam, Guna Shravanam, Charitra Shravanam. All these are what? The limbs. Because one can hear the glories of the Supreme Lord. One can hear the Naam of Supreme Lord. One can hear the qualities of the Supreme Lord. One can hear the beautiful form of the Supreme Lord. So, but Rupa Goswami is saying, I'm describing only the word Shravana. That includes everything. So that becomes the sublimbs. So therefore, he's saying that there are many sublimbs to all these limbs of devotional service, but I have taken the principal ones. Okay. So he's saying, for example, a basic principle is that one has to accept a spiritual master. This includes, now this is just an instruction. It may have details also. For example, if one is following the instruction of the spiritual master, that instruction is different from the instructions of another spiritual master. That is called information, detailed information. So he's saying, I'll focus on the principle, not on the details. Now Shrupa Goswami starts with Athangani, the very first limb, he says, that I'll discuss. But in this, the first 10 limbs, they are the positive, the do's that one has to do in devotional service. Next 10 are the don'ts. So the primary, the mukhya one, are the first 20. Next, from 21 to other till 44 means till 60, 59, you can say, are the secondary limbs of devotional service. And then last 5 are the most important ones. This is how Rupa Goswami divides the 64 limbs of devotional service. We'll see as we progress. Right now, the first 10 that Srila Rupa Goswami will be describing are the positive limbs. We'll not go in detail because in next chapter, each and every limb will be discussed in detail. Okay? But as whatever is needed, we will discuss. But keep in mind that every limb will be detailedly explained by Srila Rupa Goswami with the reference from the Shastras in the future chapters. Okay? So let's start with the limbs. Guru Pada Ashraya. So Rupa Goswami says that the very first out of those 64, he says Guru Pada Ashraya. You have to take shelter of the lotus feet of a spiritual master. That is the first. You can keep counting. First is Guru Pada Ashraya. Tasmat, after that, when you take shelter, then naturally you take what? You take Krishna Dikshadi Shikshanam. You take Shiksha, instruction, and you take Diksha. You take initiation. Okay. Shiksha Guru can also be different, and Shiksha Guru can be the same with Diksha Guru. Normally, we are first attracted with the Shiksha. We hear the classes of our spiritual master. Then whomsoever's Vani stuck to our heart, we take him as our Diksha Guru. So Rupa Goswami saying, first you serve. First you accept the shelter of the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Guru Padashraya. And then Krishna Diksha Adi Shikshanam. And then you take Shiksha and Diksha from that spiritual master. That is the second limb. Third limb, after taking Diksha and Shiksha from the spiritual master, there is no turning back. So think 100 times before you take initiation, before you take shelter of a spiritual master. You have to think 100 times. Once we have accepted Diksha, all in all, we have to accept. After that, third, Rupa Goswami says, Vishrambhena Guru Seva, that you have to serve. Now starts the serving. In servings, Vishrambhena Guru Seva means that in confidence, the disciple shares his or her problems to Sri Guru, and in return, Sri Guru gives the instructions, and that too confidentially to that disciple. Instruction given from disciple to disciple can be changed. See, Guru Maharaj, the spiritual master, he gives the general instruction in the class. Wake up early in the morning, chant your rounds, try to do it in early hours because those hours are in the mode of goodness. Read Srimad Bhagavatam, follow Srila Prabhupada's purport. Every day read Srila Prabhupada books, follow the four regulative principles. These are the general instructions that the spiritual master gives. But Vishramena Guru, that is something confidential when we discuss with the spiritual master. I can discuss my problem, another person can discuss another problem. The answer may be different what my spiritual master gives to me and gives to another person, because that depends upon disciple to disciple. That depends upon the circumstances the disciple is undergoing. That depends also upon the eligibility of that disciple to follow that instructions. So therefore, Rupa Goswami says Vishrambhena Guru, means inherent confidence we should have in Guru and the Guru should have in the disciple, and both have to discuss it very confidentially. Okay. So three things we have discussed. Guru Pada Ashra, Krishna Diksha Adi Shikshakam. Now someone can say, well, I can accept Diksha from Srila Prabhupada. Well, Prabhupada says that vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Pariprashnena sevaya. You have to offer some service. So it is very important that we accept some living Guru. Yes, Srila Prabhupada is the Shiksha Guru for everybody. But we should also perform, like one cannot perform one's bhajan if one has not taken shelter of a spiritual master. So we can read Srila Prabhupada books, we can accept him as our Guru, and he is the Shiksha Guru. But along with that, we should have a Diksha Guru who can help us, whom we can surrender to, whom we can offer some service. Vishrambhena Guru. Otherwise, it will be just like lighting a candle with a picture of a lamp. Can you do that? Like there is a picture of a lamp, and then you want to light a physical candle. Now keep the physical candle in front of the picture of lamp. Can you light that candle? Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. We are that candle was not yet lightened. With the picture of the lamp, we cannot light that candle. We need a physical candle, lightened physical candle. And when we keep our candle in contact with that, our candle will be alight. So that is why it is very important that we should accept a spiritual master. Rupa Goswami is not saying anything. He started with Guru Pada Ashray. That means Guru ke bina gati nahi hai. Without the mercy of spiritual master, one cannot progress in the spiritual life. Accepting the shelter, becoming initiated, and then obeying the orders. Vishrambhena Guru Seva means in confidential and whatever the orders, the personal instructions, the general instructions that spiritual master has given, we should abide by the rules, obey the orders with faith and devotion. Now comes the last one. Sadhu Vartmanu Vartanam. Sadhu means any great acharya, any pure devotee. Vartmanu Vartanam, following the footsteps, accepting or under their direction. Following the footsteps of the great acharyas. That also has to be done. Sadhu Vartmanu Vartanam. It can be our, of course, it should be our Diksha Guru, but can also be our Shiksha Gurus. We can follow in the footsteps of those great acharyas. So how many limbs we covered out of first important 10 positive limbs? 4 we have covered. Okay. Guru Pada Ashra, Krishna Diksha Adi Shikshanam, Vishrambhena Guru Sevan, Sadhu Vartmanu Vartan. Now comes the next, that is 5th. Sadharma Pricha. Sadharma Pricha means we have to inquire from the spiritual master about the bona fide dharma. Sadharma. What is the best dharma that we should follow so that we can progress or advance in our Krishna consciousness? The point is not to ask the spiritual master anything that is related to mundane. Oh, I have this problem, I have that problem, my family is not doing this. This will go on and on. But the real question, pariprashnena, that one should ask from the spiritual master is nothing mundane, but is the spiritual guidance, because he is your spiritual master. Yes, we have certain problems in our life that we can consider, we can take help from our counselors, from our mentors, from our spiritual seniors. We can take help, we can take their guidance, how we can deal with all those problems we are in. But when it comes to the spiritual life and a spiritual master, our only question is that how should I do my bhajan so that I can advance more and more in my Krishna consciousness? Sadharma Pricha. What is the real dharma? What is my real occupational duty and how should I perform it? And that too for what? Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna. So this is the 5th one. 6th one, Bhogadi Tyaga. Krishna Hetave. This is important. That we should be able to Bhogadi Tyaga means, Bhoga means sense gratification. Adi means etc. So that means renunciation of not only sense gratification. Tyaga means to renounce. To renounce what? Bhoga Adi. To renunciation of bhoga. Bhoga means sense gratification. That also includes Adi. Now, this is the sublimb, you can say. Rupa Goswami is not mentioning that you should try to give up your wealth, your association with the people who are materialistic. Bhog Adi means give up your sense gratification, give up the desire for wealth, give up the desire for your possessions, give the desire of the followers one can have in the process on the path of bhakti. Bhogadi Tyaga. But for what? Why we have to give the tyag? Why have to renounce the bhog? Krishna hetave. This is important. Krishnasya hetave means only and only for the pleasure of Krishna in order to attain the mercy of Krishna. That should be the ultimate goal. Only for him, for the pleasure of Krishna to attain his mercy, we are giving up this bhoga. Bhoga adi tyaga. So this is very important. Means keeping Krishna in the center, not keeping ourselves in the center. This is a very important limb of devotional service. So we discussed 6 now. 5th one is Sadharma Pricha. And then comes Bhogadi Tyaga Krishna Hetave. Next is the 7th one is the complete line. Nivaso Dwarkado cha Gangader api sannidho. Nivaso, try to stay near. Try to stay. Where in Dwarka Adav means in some holy places. Where it can be Dwarka Dham, it can be Puri Dham, it can be Navadvip Dham, it can be Shiv Vrindavan Dham. So staying in holy places. Cha Gangadher api sannidho. And especially where the holy rivers like Ganga and Yamuna flow. So in the association of that means take the residence in such holy places. Why? Why do we take residence in that holy places? Not just to hop around from one temple to another, but mostly for what? To get the association of many sadhus. Those sadhus whose minds are completely undeviated and they are focused in their bhajan. So physical residence in such holy places is very much acceptable by Srila Rupa Goswami. And therefore he's saying, residing in a sacred place of pilgrimage like Dwarka or Vrindavan. This is how one has to do. And for Bhogadi, Prabhupada writes that this means that we are engaged in the devotional service of Krishna. We must prepare to give up something which we may not like to give up. And also we have to accept something which we may not like to accept. What we don't like to accept? The austerity. Waking up early in the morning, doing some deity worship, doing some service. It requires some effort, some austerity, and we don't want that. But we have to accept it. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulasya varjanam. Whatever is favorable in my Krishna consciousness, I will accept because Krishnasya hetave, for the pleasure of Krishna. And what is not favorable for my, which is not conducive for my Krishna consciousness, I'll simply give up. How many we covered? 7. 8th one now. Vyavhareshu sarveshu. Your vyavhar with sarveshu means vyavhareshu sarveshu. Actually, it is together. Yavad arthanuvartita. Accepting only what is necessary in dealing with the material world as far as necessary. Means that our dealings or our practical behavior with others should be as much as which is needed. Hamara vyavhar means our dealings with others, with the material world, as far as necessary. Only that we should accept. See, it takes 2 things. Our possessions, if we take for the material things, for the possessions, then as much as it necessary, we should accept. Nothing more than that. Kabir Das ji also says, Itna dijo, मैं भी भूखा ना रहूं तो साधु भी भूखा ना जाए. Means give me enough so that I also don't starve from hunger, and whosoever comes to my home is nicely welcomed and should not go hungry. So as much as needed. And our vyavhar with others, our dealings with others should also be as far as necessary, we should keep it. Otherwise, what happens? Ati parichat avagya. That is, familiarity breeds contempt. Okay? So we don't have to become so familiar with others that we start seeing their dosh. We start seeing their faults. So vyavhar, our dealings with others and our need for the possessions should be as far as necessary, we should accept it. That is the 8th one. 9th comes Harivasa Sammano. Harivasa Sammano means Harivas is our Ekadashi Tithis. Sammano, we have to accept, we have to give honor. We have to give samman. We have to respect such days. And what are those days? Harivas, the days of Harivas, means where the Madhav Tithi, or you can say the Hari resides in those days. Like Prabhupada writes, observing the fasting days on Ekadashi. On the appearance day, recently we celebrated Gauru Purnima. That is Harivas. Janmashtami, Narsingadev Chaturdashi, Ram Navami is coming up. All these are important days. So Harivas or Sammana. These are the days of Hari. These are the days of the Lord. And we should very, very nicely accept it, honor it, respect it. That covers the 9th one. 10th, Dhatri Ashtavadi Gauravam. Dhatri refers to Amala tree. Amala ka ped. Ashtava, Ashwatha. Ashwatha refers to our people ped. People ka ped. Tree, people tree. Amala tree, people tree, Adi, all these respectable trees. Gauravam, give importance. Give importance to such trees. And how do you give importance to such trees? By circumambulating them. That is what is giving respect to such trees. Okay? So Prabhupada says, accepting only what is necessary or dealing with the material world only as far as necessary. So we discussed two things and people. People, we know Ariparichatva Vakya. Familiarity breeds contempt. That thumb rule we should remember. And for things, accept as far as necessary. Don't name it as Yukta Vairagya. Don't buy 8-seater car or 7-seater big car, luxury car where you don't need it. And you name it, oh, I'm buying it for the Vaishnavas. And then if you are buying it for the Vaishnavas, then mean it. That tomorrow, if any Vaishnava comes and asks for the car keys, you should be able to give it. Because you are buying it for Vaishnavas. So don't say it if you don't mean it. So therefore, as far as necessary, you can have those things. Then observe the fasting days and worshipping sacred trees like that of banyan tree, people tree. Ashwatha is the banyan tree. Dhatri is the amala tree. Adi means all these respectable trees. Gauravam, give importance to these trees. So how many we discussed? 10. Esham atra dashangam bhavet prarambha rupata. So Rupa Goswami is saying that this is the introduction to the limbs of devotional service. And I have given you dashanga, 10 angas I have given. And I have given you the introduction of these 10 limbs of devotional service that one has to perform for what? For Uttama Bhakti. And these are the positive ones. These 10 items are primarily necessary for beginning the discharge, the devotional service. In the beginning, if a neophyte devotee is observed the above 10 mentioned principles, is surely he will quickly make advancement in Krishna consciousness. So these are the first 10. What are these? Do's or the positive ones. Let's cover next 10 also. And these are the don'ts, or you can say the negative injunctions. Sangha Tyago, that we have to give up Sangha. We have to give a Sangha. And what we have to do? Vidurena Bhagavad Vimukhiri Jana. He's not just saying Sangha Tyago. Rupa Goswami is saying Sangha ka tyag karna hai. We have to give up Sangha. But what kind of Sangha? Vidurena, we have to keep a distance. We have to keep a distance from whom? Bhagavad Vimukher Jana. Those devotees, those personalities, those people who are Bhagavad Vimukh, who do not accept the supremacy of the Lord, means the atheist. So Bhagavad Vimukh. Those people who are Bhagavad Vimukh, we have to Vidurena. We have to keep a special distance from those. Sangha Tyaga. We have to maintain that distance. That is the 11th limb. Shishyadi ananubandhitvam. Now this is for those great leaders who accept many disciples. So he's saying one should not instruct a person who is not desirous of accepting devotional service. right? Not having too many disciples. Or like in the ninth offense also of Nama, we see that don't instruct a faithless person in the glories of the holy name. So one should not instruct. Shishyadi ananubandhitvam. Those who are not ready to hear about the glories of the holy name or about the glories of Lord Shri Krishna, don't give shiksha to them. Then Maha, that is the, you can say, second in the case of the next 10, but that is the 12th one. 13th one, Maha Arambh Adi Anudyamaha. Means one has to be very, very Anudyama, means huge enterprising ventures one should not accept. One should not, first of all, accept too many disciples, just increasing in one's sampradaya, shishyadi anubanditvam. Then huge enterprising ventures also, we should not do it. Building big, big temples, unnecessary, because if we are not on that level of purity, then slowly and slowly we will be absorbed in the material thoughts. And then anarthas develop. You must have seen many devotees when they are given such charge. I don't know if you all have heard, but many temples, when the construction start and you give donation and the leader gets so much of donation, and if that leader is not fully matured in bhakti, then the desire develops to take the money and use it for their own service. Generally doesn't happen, but Kali Yuga, we know many people, they run away after taking all the donation money. So Rupa Goswami is warning that till the time we are not on that level, then such kind of leadership when we get, such kind of fame when we get, then along with that, that anarthas also peeps in. And then we start thinking, karta hamati manyate, that I am the doer. And that becomes the greatest impediment in our advancement of Krishna consciousness. So Rupa Goswami is writing, Prabhupada is translating that one should not be very enthusiastic about constructing costly temples on monasteries. It's okay if we are paripakva, if we are fully matured in our devotional service. But if we are not, then Rupa Goswami is warning us that don't get involved into all this. Do your service first, get purified, and then you can do it. So that completes 13. 14, he says, Bahu Grantha Kalabhyasya Vyakhya Vada Varjanam. He is saying Varjanam means one should not do what? Bahu Grantha, one should not read too many books. Now someone can say, well, in ISKCON, especially in our Gaudiya Sampradaya, we have so many books. And Prabhupada says we should read every book. Why Rupa Goswami says Bahu Grantha Varjanam? But we have to understand what Rupa Goswami is saying. Bahu Grantha Vivarjanam, but what kind of Grantha? That also Rupa Goswami is mentioning. Kalabhyasa Vyakhyavada. We have to give up. We should not study too many non-devotional literatures. Or those literatures. Kala refers to what? Kala refers to art or kind of a discipline, skills. Vyakhya means unnecessary elaborate explanation and commentary. Vad means that leads to certain kind of argument or debate. Vivarjanam, one should renounce it, one should give up. One should give up all those kind of books which unnecessarily brings up some kind of argument or some kind of debate in our heart. So in a nutshell, don't study non-devotional texts. But devotional texts, you can study as many as possible. So one should not try to read too many books, not develop an idea of earning his livelihood by lecturing on or professionally reciting Srimad Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. So this also Srila Prabhupada is elaborating, and he's putting his bhav emotions and is giving this bhavanuvad. Simple anuvad, if we see, then Prabhupada Goswami says, Bahu Grantha Kalabhyasa Vyakhya Vada Varjanam. That you have to give up all kind of granthas, one should not study. That leads to unnecessary vad, vyakhya vad, some kind of arguments. We should not study those non-devotional texts. Sorry. But Prabhupada in his Bhavanuvad explains that neither one should earn some livelihood by reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Like we see that Saptaha ho raha hai, and people earn their livelihood. So, Avaishnava Mukhardigam Putam Hari Kathamritam Shravanam Naiva Kartavyam Sarpochishtam Yathapaya. Prabhupada says that taking teachings from a person, from the mouth of a person who is a Vaishnava, yes, he is reciting Srimad Bhagavatam only, which is very, very pure. But Prabhupada gives this analogy that milk is also very pure. It's very nourishing to body. One should drink milk. Yes, one should drink milk. But imagine if that milk is touched by the serpent. Then what happens? Is the milk still nourishing? No, because now the milk is touched by a serpent. A poison is being mixed. So Prabhupada saying, Sarpochishtam yathapaya, just like the milk when it is touched by a serpent, it's no more nourishing. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is very, very pure, but when it is touched, when it comes out from the mouth of a Vaishnava, a person who is not Vaishnava, or a person who is reciting just to earn one's livelihood, then one should not hear, because that will not bring transformation in the heart. Why we hear these devotional texts? Why we study Srimad Bhagavatam? So that some shift of consciousness happens in our heart. So that there is a transformation that happens in the heart. If that is not happening, after hearing the Bhagavat for 7 days, and we are still engrossed in our materialistic thoughts and affairs, then what's the point in hearing that entire Bhagavat for entire week? But if we hear from a pure devotee, from the mouth of a Vaishnava, a pure devotee, and we hear not for 7 days, but just for 7 minutes, it can bring immense transformation in our heart. And that is what is needed. Right? So we covered how many? 14. So Prabhupada says that we should be very, very careful. Now 15th, he says, Vyavharepi akarpanyam shokadi avasya vartita. Akarpanya means, actually there are two. Okay, I don't know what I did. Anyway, Vyavharepi akarpanyam. That is one. That is one limb. Akarpanyam means being very, very miser. So, अपने व्यवहार में miserness नहीं लाना. Means don't be neglectful in our ordinary dealings. What does it mean is that we should not show miserliness when it comes with interacting with devotees. We should offer our best. Now, this is one limb. I'm somehow not able to delete this. Remove highlight. Okay. Vyavhari api akarpanyam. This is one limb. Okay. Now, next is that first is that Vyavaryapya Karpanya means we should not be miser in dealing with the devotees. We should offer our best. Next limb is Shokadi Avasa Vartita. Means one should not be under the spell of lamentation in loss or jubilation in gain. Vartita also means to speak. So, Shokadi Avasa means our negativities of life, we should not sing. We should not sing those problems in front of others. Shokadi Vasa Vartita means we should be not lamenting too much when we are in loss, and we should not be very, very elated when we are in gain or when we are happy. We should understand that everything is temporary. So that is also one of the limb of devotional service. Next comes the 16th one. The 16 we have covered. 17th. Anya Devan Avagya. One should not disrespect the demigods. This also we know. These demigods are not the ordinary people. They are the great devotees of the Lord. So we should not disrespect them. Anya Devan Avagya. Yes, our ananyata should be towards our Ishta. But at the same time, when we happen to go to some other temples, we should not neglect their presence. उनकी अवज्ञा नहीं करनी, उनको disrespect नहीं देना. We have to be very, very respectful to other demigods. And another limb is bhutanuvega daita. Anudvega. Anudvega means unnecessary giving trouble to bhuta, to other living entities. Daita means to give. So we should not allow others also, means neither mentally, neither physically, nor verbal. Anudvega means to give anxiety. So we should not give any anxiety to other living entities, whether it is on a mental level or physical level or a verbal level. Means through our watch also, we have to be very, very particular that through our vakshakti, through our speech, if we are giving any mental anxiety to others, or when we speak something, verbal anxiety to others, forget about giving physical anxiety. Bhuta anudvega daita. Daita means to give. We should not give. So that is 18th limb. And then comes is the 19th limb. Seva nama pradhan udbhava bhava karita. Means one should be very careful avoiding the various offenses in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Seva nama aparadham. Aparadh, the offense that we commit in nam and in seva. We should be very, very careful. Udbhava bhavita karita. We should be very, very careful. We should not allow any seva or nam aparadh at any point of time. And Udbhava bhavita karita means at any point of time, we should not allow the aparadhas to peep in. And if somehow we feel that I have committed, then we should be very careful that I don't commit it again. Sometimes it happens during our seva, when we do some seva. Some aparadh happens, but we should be very, very careful that it doesn't happen again and again. We should try to curb them. Udbhava bhava karita. With very careful, being very, very careful, we should try not to commit those offenses. Okay. Now, this is also namaprad. To commit sinful activities on the strength of the chanting of the holy name. Because we know that if some seva aparadh, some dham aparadh, some vigra aparadh happens, then it can be mitigated by nam, by chanting the holy name. But that doesn't give us the license that, oh, I can do any aparadh At the same time, I can chant extra rounds and I can mitigate. Because if on the strength of Nam, we are doing something which is not allowed, then it remains no more Nam, it remains no more Dham Aparad or Seva Aparad or Vigra Aparad or any Brajvasi Aparad, then it gets converted into Nam Aparad. So yes, if it happens, we should try to acknowledge it, ask for forgiveness, and then we should, with effort, we should try not to repeat it. This is the 19th limb. Last limb, 20th. Krishna tad bhakta vidvesha viniddadi ashaishnata. That means the 20th limb is ashahishnata. On one side, our Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Trinadapi Sahishuna, that you have to be very, very tolerant. Tarorapi Sahishuna. Trinadapi Shunichena. Shunichena means being very, very humble. Tarorapi Sahishuna. Very, very tolerant. We should be tolerant more than a tree. But here he's saying Ashahishnata. We should not tolerate. What should not we tolerate? We should not tolerate Ninda Adi, the criticism. We should not tolerate. Of whom? Vaishnava, Krishna Tad Bhakta Viddesha. We should not tolerate the criticism of Krishna and his devotees. We should not tolerate. Ashahishnata. In that case, we should be very, very intolerant. We should not tolerate the criticism of Krishna or his devotees. If somebody is doing it, Rupa Goswami will he will tell how to deal with such people who criticize others. First is close your ears. Second is move out from that place. If you cannot do anything, third is to commit suicide. But Srila Prabhupada says that we cannot do any of these. We cannot commit suicide. We cannot cut the tongue of our own and cut the tongue of others who are criticizing. The best is to leave that place. Yat gatva nivartante tad dhama paramam. Leave that place immediately. Yat gatva. Na nivartate, and never come back again. Make lot of excuses. If it is happening on phone, somebody is criticizing, and you cannot stop that person, you cannot cut his tongue, you cannot cut your ears, you cannot commit suicide, hang up the phone, make some excuses. There is no harm. In such cases, even if we have to tell lie, it's okay. Because Ashaishnata, we have to be very, very intolerant. We cannot tolerate the criticism of Krishna or his devotees. And if it is happening in face to face, then also we can make a lot of excuses. Oh, I have to chant my rounds. Oh, somebody is calling me. Oh, I have a phone call to make. And never return to that assembly again, where people are criticizing Krishna or his devotees. Then Rupa Goswami says, Vyatirekte kashyat misham dashanam syad anustita. Means these are dashanam, these are the 10 things. And vyatikarena means we have to be very, very careful that we don't cross these. Means we have to be properly situate ourselves. Without following the above mentioned 10 principles, one cannot properly elevate himself to the platform of sadhana bhakti or devotional service and practice. So these 64 limbs are what? The limbs of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, devotional service in practice. One should be very, very intolerant towards the blasphemy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of Krishna and his devotees. So we'll stop here. It's already 1 hour. We have covered the first 20, which took little time because these are the most important ones. 10 do's and 10 don'ts. The rest we will quickly cover because rest are the secondary limbs, though they are also pradhana, because Rupa Goswami has already said that I have chosen out of those lakhs and lakhs of limbs of devotional service, I have only taken the principal ones and have compiled in my Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But out of those principal ones also, the first 10, 20 are the most important. And of course, the last 5 is the essence of all those 64 limbs. And that we will see next Friday in our next class. Thank you all so much. We'll stop here. And we have covered first 20. From 21 onwards, we will see next Friday. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada Rachit. Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada Rachit Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Granth ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for such enlightening session. It was very enlightening that we have learned that there are like 64 limbs of bhakti. Like today's chapter is like how to do bhakti, like acharan of bhakti, and what are needed for that. That have been mentioned by Rupa Goswami, and we have been taught like what we learned is like 10 do's and 10 don'ts that we should do in bhakti and we should not do in bhakti. And some of them are like first we need to choose a guru and we should follow his principles, and then we need to chant, and we should not some of the notes are like we should not do nama prad, we should not do Vaishnava prad, and we should not read some unwanted scriptures which are not recommended. And some of the do's so I'm not getting Mataji, I'm so sorry. I would request the
Yes,
devotees
Mataji, no problem.
uh, uh, to go ahead and please express your realizations or any questions. Please go ahead and ask. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Rupal Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, the last point you were explaining, Shahishnuna, when you see someone blaspheming a devotee, you cannot cut the tongue or your tongue. So then you explain yad gatvani vartante. So how to understand this means yad gatva now?
Yat gatva nivartanti. Actually, this is the verse by Bhagavad Gita, by Srila
Yeah.
by Krishna,
Krishna.
that yat gatva nivartante. When you come to my paramdham, you don't come back. So in that case, I'm just saying, when somebody is blaspheming, you also just go and never come back. Try to make some excuse, yat gatva, go and never come back. Don't come back to that
Oh, okay,
assembly.
analogy, like never come back to that spot again.
Never
Oh,
come back to that assembly
okay, analogy.
where
Okay,
people are just criticizing. Yat gatva
okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes. Yes, Sunil Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dandat Pranam. Thank you so much, Mataji. Very beautiful class. In spite your health is not good, but you give. Thank you so much.
I don't know. This health is my eternal health now. I don't know when this cough will stop. But yeah, thank you, my Prabhuji. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, in one thing you mentioned, Ati Avakniyat Ati Paricayat, familiarity with content. Mataji, after it happened, now it happened. Now what to do and how to avoid in future?
Maintain only minimum relationship. That's how we can avoid this. As far as necessary, as Srila Rupa Goswami says, as far as necessary, we can, till it's necessary, we can keep that relationship with that devotee. Because if it is going too much, then it will create a little problem. So we have to, now this is again from person to person, what kind of dealings we have and what kind of consciousness that other person is carrying. With some, yes, you have to be very, very confidential, and some are really to your heart and you can share your heart to them. Dadati pratignati. That Rupa Goswami shares in Updeshamrita. Few devotees are where with whom we can open our heart, and they are also ready to hear, and they are also ready to open their heart to us, but not with everyone. So with others, we have to maintain certain balance. Give a space to them. If we get too much into it, into their lives, into their personal lives, then we will see dosh. Until the time we are seeing dosh, Rupa Goswami says it's still tolerable. seeing dosha in other. But what happens? We don't stop there. When we see some faults in others, we try to do their gana. We try to do their kirtan. And that becomes a very serious Vaishnava aparadha. Because we don't know on what level the other person is. Only Krishna knows. To our eyes, it may look that he's a neophyte or she is a neophyte. But we don't know to what level they are. And we also don't know to what level they will be in future. So we have to be very, very careful. But at the same time, with few devotees or maybe one or two, to them, when we open our heart in confidential, we have to make sure that they will not do kirtan. And we know that they are in our confidence. We can share with them, vent out. But to others, we have to be very, very careful. We don't have to open our heart to everybody because unnecessary people take advantage. And their bhakti will be spoiled, your bhakti will be spoiled. So why to pay such a high price where our bhakti is at stake? So better maintain the distance as far as necessary, as Rupa Goswami says. You can keep relationship, but otherwise the safe distance is always the safe distance. Hope it helps, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much. So that safe distance must be respect, right?
Yeah, of course. Very, very respectful. Very, very respectful.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Anything else somebody wants to share? Okay, if not, we can stop. Let me see some chat messages. Read recommended scriptures. Don't preach to anyone who are not interested. Don't give an ear to Vaishnava Ninda. Raghunath Bhatt Goswami would never hear faults of devotees. Not only Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, but none of our acharyas. None of our acharya would hear faults of other devotees. So you should Mahajeno Ekata Sapanta. You should follow the footsteps. Sadhu Vartmanu Vartanam. When our acharyas are like that, we have to follow on their footsteps. The fourth limb, Sadhu Vartmanu Vartanam. Rupa Goswami says, follow in the footsteps of those acharyas. Okay, so happy to be in association of all of you, discussing this very beautiful Granth, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is the Granth of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the most important Granth for all of us to study deeply, because this is the only Granth that's going to help us in our devotional practice. And it is for us, Rupa Goswami wrote for us, so that we imbibe it, study it very nicely and imbibe it in our life. And I'm very happy to be the part of, this Sangha, where we get to discuss this wonderful Granth, our Gaudiya Granth.
Mataji, we are also blessed that you are teaching us.
It's not a
Mataji,
teaching, it's just a sharing. Who am I to teach? Rupa Goswami himself has simplified it. And our Srila Prabhupada has written beautiful purports to it, to explain it. But yeah, in discussion with all of you really enhances.
Mataji, you yourself taught us today that the way the snake puts poison in the milk, the same way who is teaching you is very important. A Vaishnava needs to teach you. So we learned today in the class itself that
This is
it becomes a
Srila
summary.
Prabhupada. This is by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is the one who taught us, and we have to only follow. उन्हीं का ही अनुसरण करना है. We have to follow the footsteps. Right? We don't have to imitate, but we have to follow the footsteps. Yes, Mahatma Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Then
Hare
pranam.
Krishna. Dhanavad Prabhu.
One quick question about the aparad. So, at the time of the Amog Lila, right? Amog Lila pastime. So, Amog.
Amog.
Yeah. So, he was offending to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Hmm.
Immediate effect. That problem immediately got a bigger one. This past time. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the form of the devotee. But why he did not tolerate at that time? He immediately why effect to that Amog.
So you are saying why it happened?
Why I know he did aparad immediately, but for example, if I offend to you, you'll tolerate. Then you ignore it and you just what call that? Just you quoted from the Bhagavad Gita. Just go away. That kind of your mood will be changed, and then effect will come up. Right? So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu time that he didn't say much, but why that effect? It seems that according to the Lila, it seems he is directly giving to the Amog. So why he's doing that way?
Because personalities like those, like of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when it happens, it turns out to be a blessing. Like you see, Manigreva and Narakovera, the two sons of Kuver, they did aparadh to Narad Muni. Now Narad Muni, why can't he tolerate? But immediately he cursed. But that curse became a blessing. So when we get the effect of our karmas instantly, then we should understand that this is the blessing of Krishna. Krishna wants to teach us, and quickly he wants us to learn. So as quickly we get the result of our karmas, we should think ourselves to be fortunate enough. Like Parikshit Maharaj. He did, and immediately the curse was there, that in 7 days you will die. Oh, Parikshit Maharaj, Mahabhagvat, he could have counteracted that curse. He had the power also, but he took it as a blessing. So when this instant things happen, it turns out to be a great blessing. And that understanding we should have. If Narad Muni would have not cursed them and have given some other punishment, do you think that today Nalakuvera and Manigrava would have become a pure devotees? No. They became trees, and in the trees where they could see Krishna's Balya Leela. So fortunate, so fortunate. And today they are no more now the sons of Kuvera. They are in Golok Vrindavan, in the assembly of Nand Maharaj, as Madhukantha and Snigdha Kantha. And today also in Golok Vrindavan, they are reciting Krishna's Balya Leela because they were the witness, being the trees in the courtyard of Nand Maharaj. They were the witness of Krishna and Balram's Balya Leela. So see the blessings they got out of that curse from Narad Muni. So when such things happen, we should take it as a blessing. If we get the result of our karmas instantly, we should be very, very grateful to Krishna. Thank you, Krishna, for giving me immediate results so that I don't have to carry forward to my next life. Just get rid of fear and there and done. This is how we have to understand. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so you mean to say immediately getting result is better than too long?
Immediate getting result is much better.
So at the time of that, what call that Jai and Vijay, they're getting like a 3 times lifetime. But they are with the Krishna's pastime, then no problem. They can take the more, right? Okay.
Yes, they were given the 7 lifetimes to take us as a devotees, but you have to be Krishna Vimukh. You have to be separated from Krishna. Or 3 lifetime as demons, but you will be with Krishna. They said, no. It's better take 3 lifetimes and come back and be with Krishna. Even though it is Krishna's Vimukh, even if it is Krishna's, we have to become demons, but it's much better. Because devotees, they cannot stay without Krishna. Yes, go ahead, Prabhu.
But they've become demon, and they're making too much trouble to the Vaisnavas or the Brahmanas. What about that?
Yes, they are giving lot of troubles, but it is all under Krishna's jurisdiction. That all happened because of Krishna. Krishna desired. Krishna said, it's okay. You become a demon and I take care of everything. So it looks like that they have given lot of troubles to others. But see, for them, Krishna himself has to come. He has to come as Ram Avatar. He has to come as Hiranyakshi came as Vara Avatar. For Hiranyakashipu, he came as Narsingha Avatar. So this is all under Krishna's Leela. Krishna wants to fight. Krishna wants to enjoy the pleasure of Veeraras. Now, who can fight with Krishna? Personalities like you and me cannot fight. We are conditioned souls. Only Krishna's devotees can fight with Krishna and give pleasure to Krishna. It's all under Krishna's Leela.
That's a very nice answer, Mataji. Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, very, very beautiful class, Mataji. I just have a follow-up question, just you answered into Mahatma Prabhu. Mataji, you said that Hiranyakashipu, the gatekeepers, Jay and Vijaya, choose 3 lifetimes because they are getting into the pastimes of Lord. They are going to stay with the Lord. And the other 7 lifetimes they did not choose because they are not going to be with Krishna.
No.
So being
seven lifetimes of devotees and 3 lifetime of a demon. So they said that lesser time is okay because we'll soon wind up the business and come back to Vaikuntha.
Yeah, that's what I also thought. Yeah. But you said like even though being a demon, but then you can be associated with the Lord. That's what somehow I understood.
Yeah, they will be killed by the Lord.
Killed by the Lord. Okay.
They will be killed by the Lord. Yeah, but they said that okay, lesser time is better. Even though we have to be Krishna Vimukh, because demons are Krishna's Vimukh, devotees are Krishna's Sanmukh, Unmukh, right? They are always favorable to Krishna, devotees. But they say, who is going to spend those 7 lifetimes? 4 lifetimes extra we have to spend. Let's wind up the business quickly, do with the 3 lifetimes and come back.
Got it, Mataji. Now I understand. I got confused. Hare Krishna.
Jai, thank you, Mataji. Thank you for answering all the questions of the devotees, and we could get a lot of insights from this class, Mataji. So, with your permission, shall we close the call, Mataji? Dear devotees, let us pay our obeisances to Mataji. Vancha kalpata rupyascha kripa
Sindhubhyeva patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavyo namo namaha.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai.
Bhakti Rasamrita
Mataji.
Jai.
Jai.
High graceful
Jai.
Mataji ki
Sundari
jai.
Mataji ki
Jai.
jai.
Hare Krishna
Thank you,
Mataji,
Mataji.
wonderful,
Thank you,
such
dear devotees, for
insightful.
joining.